Welcome to Red, White, and Truth. I'm your host, Teisha Powell, and we are here with Gray Robinson. Mr. Robinson, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I am so excited to be on your show, Teisha. It's one of my great passions in life is to reach as many people as I can, and I really appreciate people like you who can reach a lot of people and help make their lives better.
So, what is it you'd like to tell the viewers today?
Well, I have a practice. I'm a consultant for professionals who are overcome with stress, who are burnout, who are thinking about quitting or making probably irrational changes in their life. And so I just want to spread a message that it doesn't have to be that way. And I went through a period in my life where I was a third generation trial attorney. And if there was anybody who was bred to be a lawyer, it was me. And I practiced law for almost 30 years and then quit because I had a nervous breakdown. And it wasn't pretty. I mean, it was like I didn't know who I was, where I was, what I was doing. I was depressed, I was stressed out to the max. And so I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And what I've done after I quit 16 years ago is I have tried to go find the reason why people stress out. Why do people burn out? And why, if they choose a profession that gives them a lot of joy and they're passionate about it, when they start, what happens? Why does that become a living hell?
So what did people burn out? What causes that?
Well, it's a combination of things. Primarily, it's because we're not really trained to handle the stress of a job. Think of people in the military, or think of people who are first line responders, or people who have a lot of responsibility, like lawyers or doctors or even bankers or CPAs, people who have basically either the financial health or the actual physical health of their clients in their hands, and they're responsible for it. And some people thrive in that situation and other people burn out. And I think it has a lot to do with trauma. I think that there's something that is called secondary trauma response, where something doesn't really happen to you that's horrible, but you're dealing with people who have had horrible things happen in their lives, traumatic things happen in their lives. And if you do that or you're confronted with it day after day after day, then it can impact your mental health. It can impact your physical health. And that's what happens, I think, a lot of times to first responders or to the military. They may not have been injured, but they've seen a lot of tragedy. They've seen their friends, good friends, hurt or killed, and it's impacted on their psyche to the extent that it's almost like it happened to them. And that's what happens to lawyers a lot of time, is because they're dealing with people who are really having a lot of problems, or they're dealing with high stress, high stakes situation where they're negotiating things for people that make a difference, and it'll make a huge difference in that person's life, whether it's a contract or they're trying to establish a business or their business is in trouble. You know, the lawyers are called in and you know, there are all different kinds of lawyers who have different levels of stress. There are people who are sued for automobile wrecks. There are trial litigators. There are criminal lawyers who have literally the lives of their clients in their hands, or it seems that way. And so you have to have strategies on how to deal with this stress. And a lot of people, we're not trained to do that in law school. It's really amazing how we go to law school, and people who get into law school are at the top of their class usually. I mean, these are smart people. They've had a lot of success. and they are doing it better than everybody else. And then a miracle happens. They graduate from law school. An even bigger miracle happens. They get their law license. And for a lot of us, I have to say that they kind of have this expectation that things are going to calm down a little bit after they've accomplished these incredible feats of getting a law degree and getting a law license, because it's not easy at all. And so they've done this, and they get into the practice of law, and they run face first into the competitive nature of the law, about how people are not necessarily kind all the time, or they're seeing all of these horrible things happen to their clients, or they're struggling to find clients. And this impacts their quality of life, and not only their quality of life, but the quality of life of their families. And so they're not trained to deal with this. They don't have the mindset to do this. And even what I have discovered and what I work with on people is their subconscious mind is not in alignment with what they want, their goals in life. Because if you become a lawyer because you think there's something wrong with the world that you want to fix, there's something in your subconscious that can cause a lot of problems down the road, and it's called bias. There's a big thing going on right now, especially in the legal field, called implicit bias, where we have biases and we don't even know it.
We don't?
No. And it's like and it's across the board. It could be about anything. It could be about how you relate to other people. It could be, how do you relate to your work? It could be, who do you think should be sitting beside you? And so
many Black people are probably in jail because sometimes lawyers don't relate to them because they're biased.
It's not that obvious. It's not that they're anyway racist. It's just simply that here's a big one that a lot of lawyers probably would debate till the day they die, but it's there. Yeah, because psychologists have run surveys, they've tested a lot of people, and people have biases and they just don't know it. It's like this. If there's a bias that a lot of lawyers have unconsciously, they're not aware of it, that if somebody is arrested for something, there's a reason for that. And they may not think that it's that racial profiling or any kind of subtle unconscious bias of police. I mean, the unconscious bias is just as much in the police as it is in lawyers.
Wow.
And so and
politicians as well, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're saying that the way they're making laws in America is probably biased because these people are biased?
Exactly.
Oh.
And there's people, and the thing is that where the stress comes, where the conflict comes, is when things happen that are not in alignment with their bias. Because what we do is, lawyers have all of these wonderful expectations that they're going to make a real difference in the world. They're going to help the oppressed. They're going to help people get their rights. They're going to help. They want to be all inclusive. They want to be fair and generous and kind. However, they have all of these subconscious thoughts going on that the world is not fair. They think that some people are more intelligent than others. Some people may deserve what happens to them. And this is what is basically we've learned as children, as adolescents, as in school, and it's the programming that we get.
So Mr. Robinson, then why isn't the law schools getting information from you to help with this bias so that you could help the new lawyers or the next generation do better than our generation, your generation?
Well, first of all, I talk to a lot of bar associations. And so I give seminars on this very subject to lawyers so they can be aware of the fact that there's this underlying thing happening in their minds that causes conflict. And what happens is when we are doing things that are in opposition to what our biases are, then there creates conflict. It creates stress. And it's all subliminal. It's all subconscious. We don't even know what's happening. All we know is we're stressed. All we know is that we start having problems in our relationships. We start having problems with substance abuse. We start having problems with losing cases. We start having problems with antagonizing people, and we don't even know why. And so what I have to do is I have to dig into their subconscious mind and find out what it is that is in conflict with their goals. Why are they experiencing this trouble? And it has a lot to do with their experiences growing up and what they've observed, what they've experienced. And it's kind of like there's also a bias that the world is supposed to be hard. We are supposed to struggle. We are supposed to have pain. We're not doing it right unless we're having problems. And so what I have to do is show them that, no, that's not right. And there may be some things that they're doing that is causing all of this in the first place, and they're not even aware of their behavior. Sometimes, it's that old saying that you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that created it. And that's the problem with Washington, D.C., is that they are not looking for innovative solutions. They're just going back and trying to use the same logic that created in the problem in the first place. And so what you get is all this bias flying around that's not doing anybody any good. But what I do is I try to help people see where their conflicts are, try to show them that if you just change this belief, then you can experience a whole different life. And it's like, look at the thing, there's a simple bias, I am a loser. Okay, a lot of people actually feel like they don't deserve the success that they get in life.
Wow.
And so that is great motivation for going through law school or college or high school or, competing in life, that if you think you're a loser, that can make you that can motivate you to do better. But on the opposite end of that spectrum, it can also start to interfere with your what you want to do. Because if you keep thinking that everything that happens is my fault, then everything that happens, I have to blame myself, then you start getting depressed. You start having this conflict and you start having all of this stress in your life. And what I want to do is show you how to let go of that, show you that your perspective is off, that you need to think of things in a different way. Think of people as just people instead of putting a label on somebody. And so it's a complicated process, but I'm very good at it. And I've been reaching out. I've started this about 2 years ago because basically I've been doing a lot of different things. I've been a counselor in a lot of different areas, but I finally wanted to.
We're going to definitely have to bring it back on because my producer is telling me that we're running out of time.
Well, I can talk for hours, so that's fine. Yeah, I'd love to come back.
We'd love that. So where can the viewers hear more about you, Mr. Robinson?
Go to my website at www.lawyerlifeline.net. And I have lots of information. I have programs that they can do. I can do if they want a free, just a few free conversation, I'd be happy to talk to them and we can maybe solve the problem right there.
Perfect.
So Thank you for all you're doing, Teisha. You're doing a great job, and I know you're benefiting a lot of people.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We're going to have you back on, Mr. Robinson.
That's wonderful. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching Red, White, Truth, and we'll be back after this. Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.